All right, gang, buckle up because news just hit the wire that is so utterly outrageous. So it shows such blatant corruption that I got to be honest, even I had to read it twice. All right. Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar, a parody of repulsiveness, just got even more repulsive. According to newly filed federal disclosures, she reportedly generated what amounts to, I kid you not, a 60,000% return in just 1 year. I'll say that again. Well, I'll give you the real figures here. She went from roughly $50,000 in reported assets to $30 million in 1 year. Now, unless she discovered oil in her backyard, I mean, that kind of return, shall we say, it just tends to raise a few questions. Two ventures tied to her husband reportedly exploded in valuation, jumping from modest figures, again, we're talking tens of thousands, into the millions almost overnight. Now, even President Trump is rightly calling for a Justice Department investigation into the couple's finances. So what on earth is going on here? Well, to help us break this all down, I brought back my good friend and expert in all kinds of seedy Washington corruption, the one and only Ross Givens. Ross is a former Wall Street executive who spent nearly a decade tracking congressional and corporate insider trades. And he's hosting another one of his amazing free live online training events. This one's on Thursday, February 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern, where he's going to show you exactly how everyday investors can follow these insider moves for themselves, but perfectly legally and ethically. And the best part is that when you register, you'll also receive a free insider trade idea, complete with the full written breakdown explaining exactly why it's being recommended. Just click on the link in the description below. Trust me, you're going to want to do that just for that amazing free resource. But first, Ross, good to see you, my friend, as always.
Hey, always good to see you, Dr. Steve.
Yeah, well, it's usually good, but you always get my blood boiling.
No, I'm sorry.
My blood pressure goes up halfway. You always bring light at the end of the tunnel, but getting to that tunnel, man, I'll tell you. But help me, make this simple for a guy who just likes to read books and stuff. How does someone go from $50,000 to how much is it now?
30. It was 501 and like 30 million.
30 million in 1 year. Because I'm sure, I think I speak for all of us. We'd really love to know that strategy.
Yeah, it'd be a good one, right? If I put that in a book, it'd probably sell out in a couple of minutes. Well, here's what we know and what I've found from her disclosure. So her latest federal disclosure, and of course they have to show you what they own and what it's worth, show millions in new assets tied to her husband's businesses. So there's really two big ones. Now, first is his venture capital firm. It's called Rose Lake Capital. Now, he started this thing 3 years ago, right after his wife's first term. How convenient.
Yeah.
It already has $60 billion in assets under management. And this thing should not be that successful this quickly. Honestly, it shouldn't even exist because her husband, Tim Manette, has zero investment experience. His degree is in political science. All he's ever done is work on political campaigns. So who in the heck is giving this guy $60 billion to manage?
Right.
And to me, this feels very similar to a little the Clinton Foundation whole pay for play scheme, right?
Yeah.
Because the only thing this guy has to offer is access to his wife and her colleagues in Congress. But nonetheless, that's what the numbers say. And yet his ownership in a year went from basically nothing, $1,000, to somewhere between 5 and 25 million. And that is in 1 year. Next is the couple's California winery called East St. Croix LLC. Now, the winery, again, according to last year's report, was valued at between $15,000 and $50,000. This year, $5 million.
Wow.
50,000 to 5 million is not a pretty good year. That's a Hollywood script, Dr. Steve. This is a Forbes cover story.
Right.
But the whole thing makes no sense. I dug into this. 2 years ago, he was sued for fraud in a case centered around this winery. He borrowed 300 grand to start it, and he promised the guy he would triple his investment in 18 months. That's already greasy. Right. 18 months comes around. Not only did he fail to triple the guy's money, he didn't even have the original 300 grand to return. He had to sue him to get this money. So how did this failed, non-existent winery that couldn't scrape together 300 grand to cover investors suddenly become worth $5 million? Right? So it's all very shady.
I think you're being kind with that choice of word. Shady is right. And then, but it gets weird. It gets shadier because despite filling out these disclosures personally with these multi-million-dollar personal holdings, Ilhan Omar continues to publicly deny being a millionaire. Right?
It's absurd. I mean, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I'm listening to this woman talk, then I'm reading the report that she filled out, and I'm like, you just said you're worth $30 million. It's on paper. That's why this is drawn such scrutiny, including the calls for investigation. And look, disclosures aren't convictions. Unfortunately, we know that. Pelosi disclosed all of her trades for years. She never got so much as a slap on the wrist. But when numbers move that dramatically, people notice, and more than likely, I think we can all agree, she's probably guilty.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially in Minneapolis, right? I mean, we've been covering it in detail on this channel. I mean, multiple high-profile fraud cases are being discovered there more than anything I think we could ever have imagined. And but sadly, I mean, Ilhan's, we were talking about before the show here, Ilhan's a particularly repulsive case, but unfortunately, she's not an isolated case. This is not simply a one bad apple in Congress. And your specialty is tracking insider stock trades.
Right.
And you've been following their investments for years to find big opportunities. Again, that's why I love what you do. You actually, you turn these lemons into lemonade for the rest of us. But we talked about this off camera. But the numbers are out for 2025. And they've done it again, right? Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Why don't you share with our audience what you were showing me earlier here?
Well, for the 5th year in a row, Washington, D.C. has again beaten Wall Street. And once again, they didn't beat it by a little, they beat it by a lot. According to the Congressional Insider Trading Report for 2025, 38 members of Congress outperformed Warren Buffett last year.
Wow.
38.
Wow.
Members of Congress returned, on average, 33% last year. And that may not sound huge, but I want to put this in perspective because the long-term average for the stock market is, 9-10% a year, right?
Yeah.
Last year was a good year. It's 16.8%. Congress doubled that.
Wow.
Now, you've got professional fund managers who do this for a living. They're struggling to beat the index. And then we have senators placing trades on their cell phone between meetings, generating 50, 60, 78% annual returns. Warren Davidson, right there, 78%. Buffett didn't do that in a year this century, right?
And the fascinating thing is none of them are writing any books on how you can do it too. Interesting, right? Isn't that interesting? And you and I have talked about this numerous times, but just again, for everyone to understand, total full disclosure here. This is not just one political party doing this, right? It's not just it's not just Pelosi and the Democrats.
Yeah, that's right. When you look at the numbers and you put up that graphic I'll show you here, Republicans averaged 35% last year. Democrats averaged 31.8. So both of them around or a little better than double the market. I mean, all I can say, at least Republicans are better at insider trading than Democrats. But no, this is a bipartisan issue in their performance.
Yeah. So I mean, what precisely are they actually doing differently than, say, a Warren Buffett? How are they picking these stocks? And I guess, I mean, the real question, bottom line, is how can viewers do the same thing? What should we look for as a tell that this is an investment that we should get in on?
Well, what we focus on are outlier trades. So you don't generate 60% return buying index funds. You're not getting that in a mutual fund, right? You get those kind of returns when you buy very specific stocks at very specific times. And I'll give you an example. Representative Susie Lee, who sits on the House Appropriations Committee, along with the Defense Subcommittee, sits on these committees that decide who gets billion-dollar defense contracts. So she buys a stock a couple of years ago, and the stock she buys is Rheinmetall, relatively obscure.
Yeah, Rheinmetall.
Remember this?
Yeah. Sounds like a German heavy metal band. Or
Yeah, well, it's a little German arms manufacturer. They make weapons. So the reason I say this is an outlier, there's people in Congress that buy all the time, 100 stocks a year. Right. This lady's bought nothing in 3 years. She buys one stock, and she didn't pick Apple or Google or NVIDIA. She bought Rheinmetall, a small cap German arms manufacturer. Now, that's kind of random, right? And then you realize, as I mentioned, she sits on the House Appropriations Committee, the Defense Subcommittee. Well, what do you know, Dr. Steve? This stock took off like a banshee, ran 306%.
Wow.
Over the next 10 months. And it's not just one. Representative Gilbert, Cisneros, bought stock in the drone manufacturer AeroVironment back in November. So this is 3 months ago? The next month, the Department of War announced the Unleashing American Drone Dominance Project. They ordered 300,000 new drones. Cisneros serves on the Armed Services Subcommittee on Intelligence, Special Operations, and Military Personnel. Like it's just insane what these guys are doing.
And the interesting part of it all is this information is all public, right? I mean, it may be inside going on behind the scenes, but eventually they have to release it all for the public.
100%. Yeah, it's all public, and they are legally required to file these trades. So you can see the date, the ticker, how much they bought. And this is the key point. You can follow along. That's why I host these free training sessions every couple of months, is to show people exactly how to filter these filings and identify the highest probability trades. I'll show you the database where they are, what to look for, what the big winners have had in common. So again, that is happening this Thursday, February the 26th at 3 Eastern. And as you mentioned, when you register, we will send you the report, my latest pick, with all the details, why we like it, who's buying. It's going to be really eye-opening.
And the cool thing too, well, I guess cool for however you want to put it. I mean, cool for us if we're looking for opportunities, is it's not just politicians doing this, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's correct. So CEOs, chief financial officers, board members, every executive at every publicly traded company has to do this too. They have to report their trades. We can see when insiders are buying before drug trial results. We can see if they're buying before a merger or big government contracts. It is an enormous advantage. And again, I know this makes people angry, but the silver lining in all of this is that it's public.
Yes.
They're not going to stop.
Right.
There have been multiple bills proposed to ban Congress from trading stocks. None of them passed. There's no consequences. So like I always tell people, you can get mad or you can try to get even. I encourage people to use this to your benefit. As you said, thank you for saying that, legally and ethically, using their moves for your own advantage, just piggybacking what they do.
Piggyback, yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's what I love about what you do. You're not speculating. You're not guessing. You're simply following the money. It's literally that. It seems to be it's that simple. It's already documented.
Yep.
It's fully public. It's just people have to know where to look. And so it's really just a matter of accessing that kind of information. So again, this is why, I mean, seriously, you got to sign up for Ross's free live training. Again, it's this Thursday, February 26th, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's online, so you can attend from the comfort of your own couch. Anyone can come. Click the link in the description to register. You know, I've been to so many of Ross's free trainings, and they're going to blow your mind. I mean, they're beyond eye-opening. And again, the beauty of this is that we're just, we're literally just tracking. We're riding the coattails of what these politicians and CEOs are doing, that they have to, by law, disclose. So that's what makes Ross's approach so awesome. We get to piggyback on their insider knowledge that they have to make public, and we get to piggyback on that legally and ethically. Did I get that all right, Rob?
No, you're right. And the way I like to explain it is, look, their salaries are paid by you and me.
Right.
They're definitely not representing us. At least most of them aren't. I think the very least they could do is throw us a stock pick here and there so we can potentially make money as America succeeds, because they know exactly which areas are going to get legislation is going to get passed to inject capital. They know exactly where the Department of Defense and Department of Labor is going to spend money. They are connected to all these donors and mega corporations. Like, they just have a huge edge. And instead of letting it frustrate you, let it make you money. So, yeah, join me on the 26th. I'll show you how all this works. Like you said, it's free, it's online, and it's usually pretty eye-opening.
And gang, don't wait to register, because these free trainings fill up pretty fast. So click on that link below right now and register for this free online training. Again, Thursday, February 26th, 3 p.m. Eastern, and learn how you can use the same insider information Pelosi and others have used to make millions, but we're going to do it for faith, family, and freedom. Thanks so much, Ross. Always great to chat with you.
Hey, you too, Dr. Steve. Keep up the good work.
You too, my friend.